Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Missing Wolves post-game live stream podcast thing. I'm your host, Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage, and we're gonna have some mild crash out related to the Wolves' loss to the Jazz here tonight and their 3-game losing streak. And I figured, who's better to have a crash out with than the tall man of Crunch Wears No Pants, Nate Alsdurf. How's it going, man?
Oh, it was great. As up until about 2.5 hours ago, everything was great. Nothing to complain about. Nothing crazy happening in the world. It's not how my ideal Wolves watching experience goes. Missing Wolves is a good way to put tonight. Missing effort, maybe. But outside of that, life's great. Living the dad life, getting lots of sleep.
Not only are you living the dad life, but it's also not ideal up here in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now. So as I've been starting all of these pods off, I certainly understand what's going on in the city that I call home, in the state that I call home. I'm not going to sit here and dismiss or tell people not to be angry or make this political in any way, but hopefully this is a distraction for some people that are going through a really tough time, because it's, as I said, not an ideal time to be in the city right now. It's kind of crazy all the time. Every time. Nate, as you said, also new father, not sleeping well. Is the nursery done at least? Have you finished setting up the home for your child?
The nursery is done. What a lot of people told me kind of too late in the game is that you don't use the nursery for quite a while. It's great. It's like this hurry up and do it. And then you're like, we have a changing table in there, and it's basically like a glorified closet at this point, but we have a bassinet set up in our room. So we're kind of on the every 3 hours get stirred awake by some wailing. So that's it. That's good. Loving the 3-hour naps through the night. It's great.
At least you got a partner in crime that'll, I'm hoping, goes every other with you, but I won't steal any of her credit. She is doing the bulk of the load. I'm unfortunately biologically challenged from being able to help with certain respects. So I'm doing my best to support in a supporting role. She is very much the Anthony Edwards of the family, and I appreciate it. So who are you of the family? If she's the Anthony Edwards, are you going to say you're the Randall, or are you like Rudy Gobert? You just protect the paint and kind of, I'm assuming you catch better than Rudy, because if not, brain damage might be a thing.
I do. Yeah. Thankfully it hasn't been tested too much. So we'll see. I'd like to believe I have better hands than Rudy, but yeah, I definitely think I'd probably Rudy in this role. I'm more of a floor setter for the family. So
floor setter.
Yeah. I think Rudy's probably a good comp, because again, I'm doing the best with what I can, but again, I'm challenged by what I have to work with. I can't produce food for this child, so I am kind of, again, limited by my physical traits. So that's Rudy's fair. Probably a good comp.
Let's get into some bad. I'll just 127, 122 loss to the Jazz. It looked really good for about 4.5 minutes in the third quarter, and then boy, the wheels came off quick. What was kind of your take on just the fourth quarter in general for this team?
Fourth quarter, bad. I would say, if I had to summarize it succinctly, I would say bad. I struggle because I kind of, and maybe this is, I think this is the general sentiment with this team, is that this is possible in any time we're playing a lesser opponent. There's proof of concept, not just in this year, but in the last several years, of being able to slay the Giants, but then also lose to just the middling, pack of teams, or the lottery teams, if you will. So I kind of just felt this just from the jump tonight. It felt like their effort wasn't there. I put out on Twitter, from the jump, it felt like both teams, but it, you expect it from the Jazz, you don't expect it from the Wolves. It felt like you're playing all-star game defense, where just from the jump, it's they're throwing up these ridiculous shots on offense They're not like trying to get offensive rebounds. I think we had one offensive rebound up like for the first, at least first half, they said on the broadcast, and that was from Yon because he's actually putting in effort. But there's like on offense, again, you're not getting like these second chance points because they're not crashing the boards. They're not taking high percentage looks. They're still scoring, but you're kind of like, well, it's the Jazz. And then defensively, there's just no, I mean, they're sagging off shooters. They're just getting lazy, getting caught flat-footed. And to me, like the defensive effort kind of dictates the just overall effort of the game. And that the body language from Ant through Mike, the whole, everyone that was out on the court, it was like, you're not trying, like it's just not there tonight. And you think, like you put it before we jumped on the call, it's like they are expecting the Jazz to roll over, and I'm like, guys, we're the fans, we're not even out there playing. And the amount of times we've seen you guys assume that the other professional basketball team is going to just like give up because they're like, well, we'll probably lose, so you know, it's like they're also trying to win a basketball game, even if the Jazz are actively trying to tank. Like Ace Bailey doesn't know that, and Isaiah Collier doesn't know that, and Keontae George definitely does not know that. Like those guys are trying to win the basketball game still.
Yeah, and Keontae was awesome. I mean, he was taking full advantage of the kind of lackluster Ant defense. I mean, it seemed like every time Mike was on him, you can just tell that Mike can't guard quick guys anymore. I mean, I did look it up. They gave the Wolves credit for 2 offensive rebounds in the first half, but none in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, is just I kind of felt the same thing, that it just seemed like they, you know, it's like it is the last game of a long road trip. They fly back into town tomorrow, and they played like a team that was just ready to get on the plane and come back home, which that sucks, especially for, you know, fans in Utah that want to see Ant play. They got the Ant show, but not a great defensive performance. And I thought, well, like what was kind of weird is it was kind of everyone today. Like even Rudy, he finishes with 11 and 10, but until midway through the third, he didn't look very good either. And usually he's the guy that kind of sets that tone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I mean, what more can you say other than this is just kind of a trend for this team, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was not impressed with anybody throughout the whole game. I mean, even Ant, it was this, you know, we're having a different conversation if we win this game, but Ant, you know, up until he kind of took over, I guess, for that stretch that you were referencing in the third, I was just like, you're playing an inefficient game right now. You are taking some bad looks. Like it's classic Ant, like you're putting up the points, but you're still not doing it efficiently. And then the rest of the team is just not scoring, and not like Julius had a great first quarter and then just kind of fell apart after that. Yeah, I just like top to bottom, I just was not impressed with anyone, effort, or I don't know, all the above. I don't understand why Mike Conley is still playing. Like, why is he still playing significant minutes? He had, I think he was 16 minutes, or at least that's when last time I checked. I don't know what he ended with, if he played
16.
Okay.
Bones only had 4.
Bones had 4. Yona had, I think, 5 minutes, something like that. Which, like, I know you're
and not Bones. Let me check.
I think they both were.
Baron J had 5. Bones had 4. Clark had 17. Which this is the first loss with Clark over 15. So
yeah, I know. You know, no Kai meme tweeted out of him with even jacked. Like, you know, have you seen that Photoshop where he gets more and more yoked? Bummer to break that streak. But yeah, Mike just looks cooked, and I understand that you maybe have to throw a couple minutes his way in a basketball game, but like he was playing significant minutes tonight, and I don't understand why, because I just wasn't even like, yeah, statistically it was bad, but even just watching him, the eye test, he just looks cooked, which sucks. Like, we love Mike Conley, and I wish we were getting the old Mike Conley, but I just feel like he doesn't contribute to winning basketball anymore. And I think, and it's twofer, because you're not only is he not contributing to the betterment of the team, but also those minutes are coming directly from Bones, who does. Like Bones is a winning basketball player, and I mean, I'm not saying he's like the future of the point guard position, but like he can actually impact the game. He can run the offense. He isn't 36 years old and plays like he's 90. I don't know. It's frustrating to see. And I understand that you're trying to do good by him, but it's like, man, at a certain point, it's not worth wasting minutes with him out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still a little more on the Mike train because I think it's less about Mike's performance and more about just he settles people the F down. Like when people start getting that oh shit look that Cheryl Reeve talks about a lot, like Mike is Chris Finch's guy to throw in there that just kind of relaxes everybody. Yeah. He also kind of has the like, and none of these are like show up on the stat sheet things. So like, but also none of them are like game changing things, but like he's also the guy that just has the emotional intelligence to realize Jaden hasn't touched the ball in like 14 gameplay minutes and then like gets it to Jaden. So like neither of those things I think justify him getting like 20 minutes a game, but like 8 I think would be fine. Like if Mike's playing 8, I think that's fine. Like then he can still settle people down. He can still do the Mike Conley, like Rudy hasn't touched the ball in 3 quarters, as Godfrey mentions. How many times has Ant passed to Rudy this season? Like you're still getting that effect. But I agree. Like I don't really unless Bones got hurt, which I didn't see.
I don't think so. I didn't see anything. It just felt like it just felt like maybe like the minutes, the distribution of minutes, but I agree, and like I'm fine with him not. I'm not saying like he can't play, he can't get any minutes. I just think like the calming of the team down that you mentioned like might also come from like the extra 15 points we get if you replace Mike's minutes with a score. But no, I do understand it, and I know he has that high EQ. He's incredible. He's like an incredibly intelligent basketball player. So I do understand that. I just think it's really hard when you're trading that. Like you're just like, he's maybe going to hit a corner 3. Like he's maybe going to go 1 for 3 if you're lucky out there. And it's tough in a game like this where they were just trudging through the mud offensively. And you're like, oh man, we have minutes out there with Jalen Clark and Mike Conley. Again, they both can do
Rudy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, so you have 3 non-scorers. Perfect. Like everything has to go through Julius and Ant or you're cooked.
It was either in the second quarter or third quarter. I can't remember because I'm an old man now and it's past 11 p.m. But they had a lineup there where it was like Clark, Mike, Rudy, and then like Jaden had everything run through him, but like no outlet because it's Mike, Jalen, and Rudy. And it's just like, well, this isn't going to work, which I know after a game like this, there's a lot of like Finch detractors. And first I want to acknowledge like Keontae George, every time Mike got matched up on him, like his eyes lit up. And like, if that's the case, like you got to protect your player too, like get him out of there. Like Bones isn't a good defender. I think he's fine, but like at least Bones has like the quickness to keep up with them. But that being said, like as Pack Mentality mentioned earlier, the off-ball defense is questionable, and the amount of times Julius and Ant got backdoor cut was insane. Like it was kind of like they were bleeding from everywhere. But like in a game like this, how much do you put on Finch after a loss like this? Because I do think there's just some weird lineup and like rotation decisions that I just
I mean, I don't want to play the whole like, well, I'm always going to defend Finch, he can do no wrong game, because I do think like it's important to also hold the coach accountable. Like just because he's been to taking us to back-to-back Western Conference Finals doesn't mean he coached a great game tonight. Like I think I have my own questions, like Mike's playtime being chief amongst those, like in game, some of the just sets that he's running. I don't know. It wasn't a good game top to bottom. Like I think the effort was kind of the starting point, but then how do you combat that? Like, what lineups can you bring out there to get some energy, get guys good looks? But I also agree with the thing about Julius. Like, that's not a tonight thing. Him getting cut on those backdoor cuts, like that's just a huge weakness for him. Like, even Nas too. Like, both those guys defensively are liabilities in their own right. So some of those things are, how can you lessen the exposure, like for those guys to not be in this position? But I don't know. It's a tough loss. I think the Houston loss, you're like, okay, they shot the lights out, like just an absurd shooting variance night for them. A team that like went 5 nights in a row, or 5 games in a row, shooting sub 30% from 3, knocked down 42%. Sure. Okay. Toss that game out.
No Ant, Kevin Durant went nuclear, which, just side note on Houston, a lot of Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Like their team is just a lot of Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, I mean, they're all their depth went away in that trade. That's why, I mean, Houston, there are aspects of Houston that make me uncomfortable. Like, one, it's Kevin Durant, sure. But then they're huge and they're really physical. But we talked about this on the Dane and Kyle pod. Like, they don't really scare me in a series. But they can get the best of you on a regular season game. I don't know. I just think they're so dependent on Kevin Durant because their depth went out the door when they made that trade, which is kind of what happens when you trade for a guy like Kevin Durant. But so yeah, whatever. That game is what it is. You can flush it. The Spurs game was frustrating because it was the same sort of flow as the last time you played the Spurs, but Wemby is insane. They're playing incredible basketball, and you have a valiant effort to make a comeback. You fall flat. You still see this like insane Ant game, and bummer. Like, one thing, you roll the dice different, one play, and you win that game. And then you have tonight, which is just a complete stinker. And it's like, I don't know how you get, if you notice this trend with your guys and you're like, okay, you can beat the OKCs and the Denvers of the world, and then you lose to the Atlantas and Brooklyns. And I know that we have, generally speaking, a good record against those bottom tier teams. I think they said we're like 17-4 or something against sub 500 teams. But what can you do to engage your players and remind them, like I don't know, if I'm Chris Finch in that locker room, I'm like, don't forget this feeling. Like, why are you not embarrassed? And remind yourself. But I don't know. Another point I just want to make too is again, on the Dana and Kyle pod, I was talking about how, like, that to me is our biggest weakness. Like, we do have some issues with depth. There's some questions after, like, we were talking about, like, how it's like a 6.5 man team, 7-man team, basically, depending on the night. And then you have pieces that you can roll out for specific matchups. But like, outside of those things, it's just the like care, like, or the effort is the biggest issue. Like, they look at these teams and they're like, all right, what they play this game, it's like, what's the least amount of effort I can put into this game and still win? And so, if that's your biggest issue, that's probably a good problem to have. There are a lot other teams with much bigger issues right now than that, but it's still something that needs to be addressed. And I don't know how you do that, but I think you need to figure out a way. But again, it's like, they're going to get to the playoffs and then they're going to like remember that they care to try. I don't know. It's so confounding sometimes.
It's weird. So I for like 4 years of doing this media thing have always been the guy that's like, I don't like calling out players' efforts. I'm not on the floor. And after the Nets game, I asked Ant, I was just like, what is it out there? Like, is it effort? Like, what? And he's like, well, what do you think it is? And I was like, Ant, you know me, I don't call people's effort out. Like, it's not my style. And he's like, no, you can. Like, the fans booed me. Like, I would have booed me too. Like, you can call out the effort. So Ant says I can. So like, I'm going to, like, it's effort tonight. It is 100%, Finch calls it boredom, that this team's just kind of bored. I do think, on a macro view, to like take a couple steps back on this, like, the Spurs beat Oklahoma City 3 times in 2 weeks. the game after they beat Oklahoma City the third time, they lose to Utah in Utah. Like Detroit, 1 seed in the East, has lost a ton of games to bottom feeders. Like this is, I do think this is more of like an NBA problem of the regular season just doesn't really mean a lot to these guys. And I mean, we kind of see it with Ant, like the dude's having his best season and he's not an all-star starter. Like I do think that stuff matters a little bit to these guys to where they're like, why should I go out and really play at 100% when the only thing people talk about is playoff success and like how many points you're averaging in the playoffs and how many series you've won and if you've won a ring. So like I do kind of empathize with the players of like, if I was only judged on my Friday, my day job's Friday day of work and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I could just kind of like half-ass it and no one would care. Like it's human nature. You're going to half-ass it. Like it's just kind of how it goes. But I do think the Wolves in particular, there's just, they haven't won a championship yet. Like the Western Conference Finals are awesome. I think that's a great step for them, but it is weird that a team that hasn't won a championship almost has like the championship fatigue syndrome. And then to your point, they're going to get to playoffs and they're going to be, no one is going to want to play them. It's just, are they going to be a 6 seed or could they be a 2 seed and make their lives a lot easier, which that's probably the more frustrating part from my view as like someone in the media of just like, you guys could get the 2 seed and then you could face like Golden State in the first round instead of Houston, then Denver, then Oklahoma City, which
maybe they need to be an 8 seed so they can be motivated the whole time because they're the underdog. Like if they're too high of a seed, they're going to play down to their opponent. So we don't want that. The 1-8 matchup would be terrifying. That is the one benefit of playoffs is we don't have to worry about playing the bottom feeder teams. So we don't have to worry about the lack of effort. But no, I do think that that's true. And that's part of why I'm not like as frustrating as tonight is. It's like, I don't know. There's this element of like, like I'm frustrated that we lost because it's a winnable game or it's a game that you should win. But also the pride element of like, really, you just didn't care enough like to play to go up tonight. Like you didn't just like it's just right there. It's the easiest win. You could have just, I don't know. But all that to say is like it's not like you're learning something new about this team tonight. It's not like you're like, oh man, this is something rearing its head that's going to come back to bite us in the next game or something like that. It's just like the boys didn't try hard enough tonight, and they're probably going to go out and and who knows, I could be biting myself, but like win by 30 the next game and no one would be surprised because that's kind of been sort of the flow of this season. So I don't know.
I mean, pack mentality. I'm convinced they want the 6 seed, want the media to rule them out. Then it's going to be Lakers and 5 bleep all over again, which like I said it all last year. This team has to do things the hard way. It's like Finch has talked about it before of like to get them to buy in. It took a lot of kicking and screaming. Like they are kind of like, that teenager mentality of like, they almost need to be pressed up against it, procrastinating for them to be at their best. But it's a weird team. They're just a weird team. And I wish I could put like a finger on why this keeps happening other than just like, I do think there's some truth in what Finch says of like the guys are just kind of a little bored, which you'd love to have them not be bored and just run ruckshot through the league, but Ants. I mean, the dude can just put up 38 and give you a chance even when the effort isn't there. So I did want to talk to you just about, and Faraz says, I'm sorry, but Mike can't play anymore.
I agree. We're on the same
page. Catching up on a couple other things. I don't know why I read this. In my head, Nathan Daggett, I read yours as Nathan Hot Dogs. Certainly is not Nathan Hot Dogs. But if Wolves fall short again in the playoffs, would it surprise you to see Finch fired similar to Harbaugh, McDermott in the NFL? I'd also add Mike Tomlin, who I think got axed as well. Godfrey, 2 Western Conference Finals. equal 2 fourth place trophies. And then also, I just want to circle back to Godfrey's Rudy got worked by Nurk comment. Rudy has these weird, like Nurkic, Valanciunas, and like Vucevic always just like give it to him.
Those
I don't know
Eastern European centers.
I don't know if they just have more juice. I'm not going to include Jokic because he does it to everyone, but it seems like Rudy just really struggles with Eastern European guys. But I mean, what do you think, Nate? Like, if they don't win it this year, like, do you think Finch is on the hot seat, or where are you sitting on that?
I don't know that I would say he's on the hot seat this season. Like, if they're in are you saying like if they make it to the Western Conference Final and don't,
let's say if they win one round, do you think he's in the hot seat?
I could see it. Yeah. I mean, well, so it's so tough to tell behind closed doors because I do think that the organization thinks really highly of him. So yeah. I don't know what their like threshold is, but I do think, you kind of have the one thing you have is like Finch was hired before Connolly, and so if he has a guy in mind, you don't have to fall to be an 8 seed for that decision to be made. If you're like, we can't get over the hump, I'd rather kind of cut ties here and bring in my guy. Absolutely, I could see that. But again, it's so hard to know what the threshold is, like what the organization, I don't know. It feels like with this team and the landscape in the West this season, it feels inexcusable not to win more than one series, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's so tough to say in January, what the floor is for that.
I mean, I'll just say Ant still has a lot of faith in Finch. Like Ant and Finch are still tight from everything I hear from, I think everything any of us hears. Like Ant still considers Finch kind of like almost a father figure. Chris Hine talked about it a little bit in a couple articles last year of just like their relationship. Like as long as Ant wants Finch to be here, I think Finch will be here because like that is your, you know what I mean? Like Ant is your
that's the most important part. Yeah, that is the most important.
If everyone loses faith in Finch and Ant is still like, I will die for this man, like Finch still has a job because Ant is kind of the most important thing in this organization right now. I will say, like, you're right on the Tim Connolly part, though. I mean, every GM gets a coach fire before they're on the hot seat. So if they get knocked out in the first round and they start next season 10-10, is Tim Connolly just saying, hey, we got to change it up here or else I'm going to lose my job? Like, it's tough to say, but yeah, I don't think he's going to get fired at the end of this season though. Like, I think even if things go really bad, he'll still start the year with the Wolves next year. But Nate, I'm going to throw us over to a couple ads here. When we come back, I do want to talk a little bit about where the Wolves do stack up, even though I know you, Dane, and Kyle talked about it at length. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read, this time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. Couple of housekeeping things. Firehawk Construction does have a new phone number. It is now 651-315-4291. Again, that number is 651-315-4291. They are also, I think, booking deck remodels for the summer already. So if you're sitting here January 20th and want a new deck, they do free consults and drafts. So feel free to give them a call for that. Also, Nate Pence over at Pence Home and his team is still doing a Occupied Minnesota food drive. If you want to contribute anything, cash, canned goods, box goods, you can email them at info@pencehomes.com or reach out to Nate Pence on any of the social media, Blue Sky, Twitter, or Instagram. They're also looking for volunteers as well. So if you want a way to help out, deliver food to people that might need it during this time, they're always looking for drivers. So as Nathan says, there's a lot of Nates in this. There is so many Nates, including Nathan Dogs, Nathan Yu, and Nate Pence. Lot of Nates in this.
It's a great name. I don't know what to tell you.
And the Nate on the stream. There's just Nates all over the place. I did want to ask you though, anything over the last week kind of change your opinions on how the Wolves stack up against the top 4 seeds? I mean, obviously Oklahoma City, I think, is still in a little bit different category, but the Houstons, the Lakers, the Spurs, and the Nuggets.
I think, I mean, in the last couple of weeks, my view of OKC has changed because they're a middling team now that the whistles changed. Their dynasty was ended before it really began. No, I mean, I think I do. I mean, the tightening of the whistle just across the league, as it's known to do in the second half of the season, kind of happened a little bit earlier this year. Credit to Chris Finch. But so I do think that kind of shows a little bit of the weakness there, but they're still a dominant team. They're still probably going to end up being the 1 seed. They're going to be tough regardless. I am encouraged in the way that we have Houston specifically, we talked about that, seeing them, seeing how we stack up against them. I was a little bit more not worried about them, but I don't know, them just being a gigantic team is a little scary because of how small our backcourt is. We just have a lot of small guards on this team and they can throw a lot of length at that, which is tough, especially when we just don't have a lot of guys on the team that can dribble. And so that can give you a little bit of the Trailblazers first game of the season outcome with a lot of turnovers and just kind of muddies up the offense. So I came away from that game being we can definitely, I mean, I would feel comfortable playing a series against Houston in the playoffs if it comes to that. I don't know where they're going to end up because, like you said, there's just so much hinging on Kevin Durant that if you kind of expand that across the length of the season, are they going to be able to kind of stay at pace for that? What are they at? They're a 5 seed now,
Yes.
Half game or 1 game ahead of us, below us. So I don't know. Lakers, I just am never really convinced about the Lakers. I don't know. I just don't. That's a really Luka heavy team. If we're talking about bearing the load there, I don't really believe in that roster construction. I don't know that I really have believed in their roster construction for the last several years. I could be wrong. Luka has the ability to go absolute God mode. I think LeBron is kind of he can still play, but he's kind of just a carcass at this stage. He's Mike Conley on steroids, but that's putting it way too. I mean, he's still LeBron.
A lot of steroids.
Yeah, so many steroids.
Bane level of steroids.
So I don't know. The teams that we'll see how Denver nets out over this Jokic-less period. What are they 6-3 without him or something like that? It's something like that. But they've been winning games.
That sounds right. 1, 2, 3, 4. They've lost 4. They're 6-4 without him.
6-4.
Playing the
Okay.
Lakers now.
Yeah, and we'll see how it nets out. How do we have a timetable for Jokic coming back?
Should be soon.
Yeah,
like he's resumed to practice. So,
okay.
Which I was looking at. I did a little like write up that came out today. Plug over on Zone Coverage, but like he leads the league in offensive rating regardless of minutes. Do you know how hard it is to lead the league in offensive rating over a guy that played 3 minutes and scored 4 points?
Yep.
Like it is astronomical how good of a season he's having. Like top 5 or top 10 in points, top 5 in rebounds, first in assists.
True shooting
67%.
You're telling me has
60, 40, 85 season. It's ludicrous.
You're telling me he has a higher rating than Luka Garza, king of the short, small minute offensive rating, to the moon? No, honestly, I'm kind of at the stage where like I'm just not. Any stat you tell me, I'm just not surprised anymore. Like I just assume he has the best version of whatever stat we're looking at. Like the guy is he's insane.
And I mean, just real quick on Houston, I agree with you. Like a lot of Kevin Durant, I feel like the size wasn't as like imposing as I thought. Like I know Steven Adams didn't play that game, and like maybe that adds something, but like I agree with you. Lakers, I can't get last year out of my mouth, and like I don't know how much Jake LaRavia, DeAndre Ayton, and Marcus Smart like raised the bar over like Dorian Finney-Smith and like some of the guys they left.
Yeah.
Denver, I agree. Like it's kind of TBD, but like what did you think of that Spurs game in particular? Like did you leave that thinking the Wolves had a better shot against them or a worse shot? Like in a 7-game series.
I think in clutch time we absolutely have a shot. The rest of the game, we'll see. I don't know that it really changed. I mean, it wasn't the same because we didn't start the game down 0-16. It was close, but it was a similar game flow. So it was hard to really have a new opinion about it because it felt like a lot of it was, I don't know. And maybe I was also watching this a couple Hennessy's deep at post podcasting from Treasure Island in a loud environment with the 2 NFL playoff games going on the big screen. So maybe not the best for deep dive ball analysis, but no, I don't know if it changed a ton from the game before. It just, I think that we can play against the Spurs, as funny as that sounds, because they have a 7-2 center with point guard skills and can shoot lights out. Like, I think that we, the Wemby factor is the main bottom line. And if you can play, like, if you can like bottle him up as best as you can, you got a good shot. Like there's not really anybody like, I don't know. They have a good team. I wonder how far out in front of their skis they are. Like, I wonder if this is the real version of the Spurs or if they kind of fall into some bad habits as the season goes on. I don't know. Jury's very still out for me on the Spurs.
And this is going to sound weird because like Wemby had 12 points in the last 6 minutes and like kind of daggered a 3 and like kind of answered everything that Ant kind of threw at them at the end of the game. Wemby in that fourth quarter, there were just times where you can tell he's still figuring out like how to be the lead guy. Like there was times where, he's kind of open at around like that, mid-range, not quite in the paint, but kind of on like the elbow area, and just Castle is not looking his way and throws it to Keldon, and they go possessions without Wemby touching the ball. It's kind of like how Ant was 2 years ago with Cat, where it was almost kind of like a, how do I assert myself to get the ball every single time? But like that could change by the playoffs, I guess. But that was kind of the hope I had, is like, I think I at one point even like said out loud, like, oh, he doesn't realize how good he is. Cause like every possession in the fourth quarter when he checked back in should have just went through Wemby, but it just seemed like he was a little more passive. He also just like, I don't know why, but like Jaden was really bugging him at times in both games where you'd think he'd just be able to kind of plow through Jaden, but Jaden's just like could get his hands and pick at stuff. Like, I don't know. I kind of left even the loss thinking like, okay, I feel pretty confident the Wolves would be able to beat them in a 7-game series if this is how this team shows up. But yeah, it's such a weird place to be in because like the Wolves could be the 6th seed, and I think they're still gonna have like Vegas odds as like the 2nd team to come out of the West.
Yeah, I mean, if you can bottle what Julius did to Wemby in the last couple of minutes in the not the last game but the game before, because whatever that was, I mean that's the X factor with Julius is like the X factor with Jaden, where like the unlock with Jaden is his offense when he like realizes that he can like score at will. He's an insane. I mean, obviously he impacts the game way bigger than that, but like that's such a bonus when he remembers that he can score whenever he wants to. And Julius, like he doesn't have the same ceiling for defense that Jaden does for offense, but he has a pretty, like when he wants to, it's such an effort game with him. And so like he has that ability to do that from time to time. And you kind of need that when you don't really have a backup center, not somebody that's capable of guarding, I don't trust Yon to guard Wemby right now, but you kind of have a little bit of that, like tall, lanky dude getting guarded by a smaller but much stronger basketball player. You can be physical with him. Like he's going to get a call here and there, but like that's what happened with Julius is he just out muscled him and didn't give up any space for him to kind of go anywhere. And yeah, obviously he's 7'2" and can like almost touch the rafters when he shoots, but like he can shoot over you, but that shot is only going to go in so many times. I mean, he is fallible. Like I think tonight he's like 5 for 21 tonight and like 0 for 7 from 3 against Houston. They lost. We're not used to that because I think we always get like the best version of everyone when they play the Wolves, but yeah, I
being a team everybody wants to kind of put in their place.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, but no, I agree. I think that's a good point about Wemby is that he's still very much figuring out that he's, like the future of the NBA, or one of the kind of tent posts of the future of the NBA. So I think the confidence of that, and then to your point, like how can I demand the ball every possession, which is maybe. I don't know, like as much of a benefit as it is to have a guy like Castle also being a very ball centric scorer, that could also be a negative too, that you do have to share some of those shots. So I don't know, but I do at this version of the Spurs, this isn't the final version of Wemby. So I don't know. I could feel good about playing them in a playoff series.
Pack mentality just pointed out if the Lakers win, the Wolves drop down to 7th. Yes, if the Lakers win, the Wolves drop down to 7th and will be tied with the Lakers and the Suns, a half game behind the Rockets, 1.5 behind the 2.5 behind the Nuggets, and 3 behind the Spurs for the 2 seed. As you said, I think we all hate the West. It's just. It doesn't seem fair, especially when you look over on the East and it's like, oh, the Wolves would be the 2 seed by a half game. It's just we're back to the early 2000s where, Detroit and New Jersey are making the championship. The last thing I wanted to just get your thought on before we get out of here, because I know you've been Crunch in general, Crunch Wears No Pants in general have been on the Johan train. Just how's the last 4 games of Johan been? Like, is it meeting your expectations? Are you having fun with it?
I'm having fun. Yeah. It's hard to say that the last 3 because of the result have been great, but no, I think, for me, it's been a zero expectation thing with him.
Yeah.
Like truly, that's maybe more of kind of the trend with everybody with him because we just don't really know what to expect. we didn't see him outside of some highlight reels. It's not like a lot of us watched him play overseas. So it's just kind of like let's see what this guy gets molded into. He just learned basketball 5 years ago. I think with me, I see the flashes with him. But it is still very clear that he is still getting his bearings under him. Like, he is still very clearly trying to understand defensive concepts. I'm very encouraged by how much of an impact I've seen him in those short stints. He looks competent for the most part. He is so athletic and the effort is there. I think it's just going to take a bit of time for him to just get comfortable playing in the NBA, which is to be expected again for a guy that's still very much learning the sport. And English, even like learning like some of the terminology for concepts on top of that.
It's hard to understate the difference between like learning English and learning like Anthony Edwards English.
Yeah.
Like, he learned English from a bunch of Slovenian dudes last year. Now he's talking.
They weren't saying Thursky or
Thursky
or
different. It's so different. I mean, I've been. It's one of those really cool times where everything the team has been saying has proven to be right. Like, he fouls a lot. He jumps at everything. He is just kind of flying by the seat of his pants. And you can tell he's kind of like a lost deer out there sometimes. Yeah. But also everything the fans have been saying is also true of like, he's making a positive impact. Like, he's playing through his mistakes and looks good. And it's something that we can all unify on is Johan's fun, right?
Yeah. Johan's fun and he puts out a lot of effort. And those are like two things to really endear yourself to Minnesotans specifically. You're like, if you try hard and you're fun, we love you. But yeah, it is cool to see him get some time and kind of carve out some minutes. It is very, there was a couple times tonight where he got switched and he just didn't know what to do. Like, he didn't know if he should follow or like stay with his guy. And but you're kind of like, yeah, this is kind of par for the course. Like, this is, I don't know, like, this is kind of what you get with this, what 19th overall pick in a draft. It's sort of a throw at the dartboard, and we'll probably be looking at this years from now and have the next Giannis playing as a replacement for Rudy Gobert, and never in doubt. But
I mean, it is again, like it's encouraging is what I'll say of your first kind of swing at a rotation spot being, playing against Giannis, where he held his own pretty well, playing against KD and the Rockets in limited minutes, like held his own pretty well. Spurs, he looked okay. Tonight, he looked okay. Like, I think the most telling thing for me is just, I mean, Finch, I think genuinely likes the kid. Like, he doesn't have to play him. And I think Finch just finally got enough on tape to be like, no, we're playing this guy. And if Johan's good, there goes my theory of trade for a backup big, because Johan kind of solves all those problems. Nate, I do want to get you out of here, though, at some point at a reasonable hours, but I do always give people the chance. Anything you want to plug, anything you want to shout out, where can people find you? Please do tell people about the Crunch Wears No Pants podcast and the Prowl Sometimes Wears Pants podcast. Is that branching off into a separate WNBA centric podcast, or what can fans expect?
Not as of now. I think we're just going to rebrand in the off season, as we are known to do. But who knows? If we do, you'll be the first to know. Yes. This group of guys, we barely know what we're going to wear the next day, so our planning does not go that far ahead. So yeah, you can find me on the social medias at Alsdurf. I do this Wolves podcast, Crunch Wears No Pants, with Jordan and Brandon. We are three buddies from college that talk about the Wolves all the time. We decided to do a podcast. So it's a kind of a fun vibe. We do talk hoops, and then we do stupid drafts, and it's kind of ridiculous. But if you want something entertaining, hoops centric, then feel free to give us a listen on Spotify, Apple, all the podcasting, and at No Pants Crunch on all of the social medias. We don't really have anything coming up as far as I know, no live shows or anything. Just would plug that it's a tough time in America, but in the state. So just like, I don't know, look out for people, be a good neighbor, do what you can. It feels kind of helpless right now in many respects, but we keep pressing on and, just encourage people when you can, I guess. So my plugging is compassion and kindness. That's what I'm plugging.
Awesome thing to plug. I will add on to that. Also talk to people. If mad, if you're sad, if you're angry, if you're upset, if you're depressed, whatever it is, just talk to people. Like if you don't have anyone to talk to, take a chance on that one coworker that's nice to you sometimes. Like just talking in this time and not bottling is really important. But Nate, appreciate you as always, man. For anybody that came into the podcast late, this does get posted live as soon as I end the stream here. If you can wait until tomorrow morning to watch it, it gets posted anywhere you get your podcast at 7 a.m. Teresa, nice to see you back in the chat. She says that's beautiful, Nate. There you go. But we'll be back after the Chicago game, hopefully to talk about a win. It'd be nice to talk about a win. But until then, everybody stay safe.